On the left-hand side.
There's people at my work who are still saying it's Antifa. Dude, I don't know what to do with those people. Like, fuck those people, I guess. Like, there's just no saving that. Like, there's no salvaging that situation. There is no saving those hogs. You just hope that one day they, like, I don't know, have a life-changing event or something and accidentally see the truth. Because how else are you going to get someone who watches people follow the direct orders of Donald Trump, the Republican media apparatus, and the Republican Party's, like, most famous individuals, directly follow everything they've communicated while waving all of the fucking Trump flags and Confederate flags, and on top of that, screaming, "We love Donald Trump" and "Make America Great Again." You see all of that. You see people telegraphing that they are Trump supporters, and you still say, "Nuh-uh, I don't believe it. They must be Antifa." It's done. There's nothing to do for that person. There is nothing you can do for that person. That person is gone. Half my family thinks it was Antifers, but they also are the same people that think libs are ultra-left socialist commies. Oh.
Side of the video, just inside the hallway, is the door to the Senate chamber. And watch how Officer Goodman provokes the rioters and purposefully.
Also, the people that are saying, like, AOC is faking it or whatever, it's pretty gross, because those are the same people who think, like, those are the same people who get an anxiety attack when the Starbucks barista fucking says Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, okay? And they think that, like, Christianity is under attack now. So you're really gonna fucking tell me that people who very legitimately want to fucking murder AOC breaking into Congress is not gonna be a traumatic experience for her when she doesn't know what the fuck's going on, when 5 people fucking died, when people are literally tactical, dressed out the wazoo with flex cuffs in their fucking hands? This is Steven Crowder to a T. AOC, she's faking it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I can't believe AOC's faking it. Meanwhile, also Steven Crowder losing his absolute fucking mind that, like, a Korean man won an Oscar. They're so stupid. It makes no fucking sense. There's no reason to look for consistency because there is none. Conservatives think this shit is overblown while simultaneously petitioning to cancel Arthur because there's a gay rat in one of the episodes. Okay? So, come on. And I'm not saying that, like, liberals aren't fucking snowflakes and leftists aren't snowflakes. Like, they certainly are, okay? There are snowflake weirdos in my community too. No, not Pete Buttigieg. Like, there's literally whatever. There was an episode on Arthur where one of the teachers is gay and he gets gay married and, like, everyone fucking lost their minds. Mr. Ratburn. Yeah, he's the teacher. Turns out he's gay. Stop both sidesing it, for fuck's sake. No, there are liberals who, like, lose their shit at random stuff. There are people who have, like, ridiculous expectations. And they're edge cases, like some of the conservatives that I'm mentioning are edge cases, okay? Not every fucking conservative is, like, losing their minds at the prospect of Christmas being taken away from them or something because someone said Happy Holidays. Plenty of fucking conservatives who are just regular racist and regular white supremacist and not, like, over the top hysterical with their point of view, right? Just like there are psychotic liberals who are like, I'm not going to go watch Black Panther this week because that's for the blacks. Okay, good job. Like, I'm not going to go watch Black Panther because I don't want to take a seat away from a black person who deserves to be there. Have fun. Have fun with your life. Okay? Or, yeah, people who say lame is ableist, sweaty. Yes, there are overcorrective woke scolds on the liberal side, just like there are on the fucking conservative side. The problem is the impact that it has. Overcorrective woke scold liberals are laughed out of every fucking room for the most part, okay? Brands are the only people that take them seriously and act like that's how normal fucking behavior is supposed to be like, and that everyone will straight up overlook the horrific things that that said brand does in general if they throw up a black fist or something and fire some employee, right? Then they'll forget that 90% of the production comes from like Indonesian child slaves, and that most of their profits go to funding the fucking police force. Not most of it, but like a significant chunk of the profits then end up going back directly into those very same oppressive structures within society that they are supposedly arguing for reform. But liberals in and of themselves and the power that they hold is fucking nothing. Like, it's nothing. They're like crying about dumb shit. They're crying about dumb shit and they get like a symbolic dub or something. Whereas when Republicans are crying about shit, maybe not like Christmas being stolen, but when Republicans are crying about shit like immigrants are coming over the border to kill us, then the white supremacist nature of American government kicks in and very easily and very comfortably decides that this red herring is actually a legitimate threat to American sovereignty, and that's why we need to separate children from their parents and lock them in fucking cages. I sometimes feel like Hassan is a lib. Yeah. Okay. Well, I looked up the word whataboutism.
That's not a good precedent for our nation. And for the same reasons I voted against impeachment, or the same reasons I voted to certify the Electoral College because of the Constitution. Impeaching a president who's no longer president has never been done before in this country.
But Congresswoman,
it's unprecedented.
But he was impeached while he was president.
Right. This is a second impeachment trial. We've never impeached a president who's no longer president. That's never been done in our nation's history, to my knowledge.
Answer that question and no. Well, then
Hassan is a rad lib? How am I a rad lib? Am I a rad lib or am I a fucking racist? Because depending on who you ask, I'm like a racist fucking sexist asshole, or I'm a rad lib. Like, where am I? How am I both at the same time? It's very strange. Like, people either say I'm actually not fucking woke or not woke enough, or they say I'm too fucking woke and I'm a rad lib. And I don't know where I stand with this. Maybe I'm just who the fuck I am, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. I saw someone call you a tanky once. Yes, I am also both a tanky and also hate tankies at the same time as well. You're a tanky Nazi lib. How is it's never happened a good defense for Trump? I mean, it's just anything at this point. It's like fucking children throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks, okay? Nothing says radlib like wanting to end woke scolding. Yeah, I just went on a fucking 20-minute rant about how woke scolds are annoying, and someone was like, someone followed that up immediately by, you're a radlib. What exactly does radlib mean compared to just lib? Radlib are just people that hyper focus on the aesthetics and get mad. Radlib would be someone who's literally like, I'm not gonna watch the Black Lives Matter movie, which is Black Panther, because it's for black people and it's their moment. I'll watch it later when I buy it on a Blu-ray. People that have like fucking, I don't know, crazy white guilt or some shit. You're not a rad lib, you're a leftist. I just really get uncomfortable when you go on the woke scolding rants. It feels weird and your audience is disproportionately white. They won't take it the way you do. They'll take it as an anti-SJW statement and everyone's just a sensitive lib. Just my thoughts. Yeah, but I also shit on the fucking anti-IDPOL leftists all the time too. So I think they probably understand where I stand when it comes to this sort of stuff. Because, like, I laugh routinely at the Michael Treacy's of the world who hyper-focus on, like, idiotic Tumblr grievances and make it seem as though these people have any sort of tangible power, okay? Or it's the end-all, be-all of oppression. Or that in order to be a worker, you have to say the N-word or something. Like... Yeah, there's no black workers. Famously, guys, as you know, there are no black workers. There are no disabled workers. There are no female workers. There's only the white male working class, and that's the only time. Whenever people mention workers, that's what we're talking about. And also, speaking of which, like white male workers can't possibly be more mindful of I don't know, not hurting other members of their class in an effort to promote intersectionalism or solidarity. That's all academia riddled jargon, and no one could be kind to one another. The more you say the N-word, the more a worker you are. Everybody knows this. I mean, you don't really present your alternative to capitalism, so you're a bit of a rad lib, or at least you act like one because you don't want to alienate viewers by being more radical. No, I present my alternative to capitalism quite regularly. There are certain areas that I don't think, and I've mentioned this before, that I don't think are possible to flush out in the exact same way that like orthodox Marxists and the way that they describe the mode of production works. Like, I don't think you can labor theory of value every fucking ounce of labor, considering the fact that value in and of itself is inherently subjective, and no matter what people do, you can try to make it as quantitative as you possibly can, but there's still qualitative features to value that you literally cannot fucking subject to a price point. So therefore, I think that when you're building a business or some shit like that, it is virtually impossible to literally be like, this, you know, you made this banner for a YouTube channel. Well, there you go. That's actually going to be 85% of your profits going forward, considering the fact that this is how much that banner will contribute to your business and the profits that you're creating. That sort of stuff is very difficult to put together and virtually impossible. Actually, I literally think it's impossible to figure it out. So there are certain issues that I have with Marxist orthodoxy, I guess, or that's not even technically Marxist orthodoxy, but there are certain issues that I have. But overall, I have a vision of change that I describe fairly frequently. It coincides with the overarching point of view of the DSA, which is social democratic reforms and exhausting state machinations until you get to a point where slowly but surely you are changing the economy by focusing on businesses, increasing labor unions and worker participation in the workplace from a transitional market socialist state to a full-blown socialist state. Politics frogs fanning the flame of the stunlock because they need content. I mean, Genghis Arc? No, that's not No, that's not it. If you read anything, you'd know that the use value is subjective, but value in the Marxist sense isn't, and the LTV talks about the latter. No, I disagree. I think value in the Marxist... No, my criticism is literally that I think value in the Marxist sense is still subjective. There are subjective components to it. I know that it's supposed to... I literally just described it to you. I just described value in the Marxist sense being still being beholden to inherently subjective points, or having a qualitative aspect to it that you cannot put a price on. And you did not listen to anything I said and said, you're wrong, it's actually objective. Because you're a fucking moron, and you literally don't look at Karl Marx as though he is some fucking theorist who lived 200 years ago, but God himself, or Jesus Christ. It is really frustrating that... It is incredibly fucking frustrating that Orthodox Marxists, or people who fancy themselves Orthodox Marxists, sometimes are beholden to dogmas that I can only compare to religion. And I hope that fucking triggers some of you r/atheist dipshits, because that's exactly who those fucking Orthodox Marxists are, for the most part. I am of the mindset that no matter how accurate the descriptive claims made in Marxism, no matter how accurate they may be, whether it be dialectical materialism or historical materialism, no matter how accurate that is at describing human nature, there are still some things that, you know, a guy from fucking 200 years ago wasn't able to see correctly. And part of the reason why I rarely ever talk about this sort of thing is because it's not a productive conversation. We are not at a stage in the United States of America, or even around the fucking world, to be having such complicated and possibly fractionalist points of view on Marxist analysis. Okay? In the United States of America, people think sock Dems are fucking radicals. That's it. So, as many liberals, if I can convert as many liberals as I can to fucking social democrats whose goals align 100% with mine in the short term, I'm going to do that. That's just my point of view. Which is why I don't really shit on fucking leftists all that much on this broadcast, whether they're fucking tankies or social democrats. Okay, in that entire leftist spectrum. Anyway, sock Dems are social democrats, people who think Norway is the end all be all. A social democratic capitalist state is good. There's still market components, robust social safety nets, things of that nature. But you still have billionaires and stuff like that. All right, I'm gonna hit the first ad of the fucking hour. It's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 60-second ad break. No, Norway is good. I like Norway. Let's do Norway tomorrow. Okay, let's do Norway today, and then we'll move on from there. I just don't think Norway is the. I just don't think Norway is the fucking end point, especially because when there's Norways, there's going to be Zimbabwe's. When there's Norways, there has to be Indonesias. Okay? And that's not good. Anyway, regardless. Top of the hour, every hour, it's time for a 6-second ad break. The first of the day. If you don't want to watch the ads, if you don't want to see them at the top of every hour, you can subscribe. You can do it for $5, or you can do it for free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Twitch Prime. Here's the ad. All right. And I'm going to continue with this video, and I'm going to go pee really quickly while this video goes on.
You not convict him.
Well, the impeachment process, as I've stated before, is unconstitutional. Impeaching a president who's no longer president has never been done in this country. Now,
you keep saying that, Congresswoman. That is not the fact of the case. He was president of the United States when he was impeached. He is an impeached president, even if he's convicted. He was president when impeached. The constitutionality question has also been answered by the U.S. Senate, because our Constitution says the following. The U.S. Senate handles all impeachment trials, and it is up to them. And they have said this is constitutional. So I know it's your opinion that it is not. But now that it is deemed constitutional and it has been impeached, what do you do?
Well, if prosecutors do believe that he incited an attack on the Capitol, there's a criminal court where they can also file charges in this instance, would be another option.
Sorry. IRL streamers are getting representation in Congress. Bake the last day in today's. Oh no, that's fucking gnarly. Really? Thursday installment of Trump's impeachment trial begins with a Baked Alaska clip.
Let's call Trump, yes! Dude, let's tell Trump what's up. Trump would be very upset.
What do you mean by Zimbabwe's and Indonesia's? What I mean is a social democratic capitalist state can only exist in the way that it currently does when the Western world or dominant countries in that capitalist global economy exploit the developing nations or the third world for their natural resources and unlimited labor pool that they can consistently drive the wage prices or labor prices down on. Okay? It does not work without that. There's no such example of like, I don't think that a social democracy, the social democracies universally could work without countries that are still on the shitty end of that bargain. Norway's great, but Norway benefits greatly from its geopolitical. That's a bad argument, and you know it. That's not a bad argument. Norway is great because it benefits greatly from its geopolitical position, being in the European continent and not getting colonized and fucking owned into oblivion. Aside from its natural resource wealth as well. If you are a social democrat, you recognize certain values, you recognize certain things that are built into the capitalist infrastructure. Unless you're like some fucking weirdo on the internet and you think social democracy means being a fucking neoliberal, okay? And I don't know how to describe that. I don't know how like people have gotten to that point. I think people are just like representing what social democrat means and there's a lot of confusion around it. But if you're a social democrat, you believe in significant checks on the market because the market is inherently unfree, and it is virtually impossible to it's not virtually impossible, but like leaving the market to its own devices creates a system that is unjust. Okay? Companies want to monopolize. Companies want to drive out the competition. They want to lower their lower their wages as best as they can. That's just normal companies, right? That's just what they do. So social democrats recognize that and say, because the nature of man is inherently selfish, we need to do something about it and have a democratic government enforce controls, put mechanisms in place to reel that back, right? You get it? So that the wealthy don't fucking abuse the poor, right? So if you can understand that concept within national politics, you can understand that concept in international politics. The dynamic between the retail worker and the manager or the business owner is the exact same nearly with the dynamic between a third world country, a third world nation or a developing nation, versus a nation like the United States of America that benefits from the imperialism. You get it? But everyone is wealthy in a social democracy? That's not true. What do you think? Every Norwegian is wealthy? No, it just means that there's a base level of material equality that have been provided to every single citizen. And there are areas that I don't have answers to. At least I'm honest. Okay, I'm a fucking dumb himbo. Human nature, the mode of production, and material conditions influence human behavior and ideas in a society. Yeah, no, I understand. To say that the human nature is selfish is like to say that a coal miner, it's human nature to have lung cancer if all you know is coal mining, right? Or something like that. I butchered that quote, but yeah, I get the point. You can rewire human nature to a degree, but just because something is human nature doesn't mean you need to succumb to it anyway. That's my point. You work against it. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why it is a fallacy, yes. An appeal to nature or the naturalistic fallacy is ridiculous. How can you support social democracies when even you admit they operate on imperialist conquest? Because I'm not fucking 12 years old and read Lenin for the first fucking time, okay? Or 14, not 12. And think that, like, there needs to be a revolution now. Like, what revolution? Shut the fuck up. If you are going to hand wave away successful examples of state reform that provide better material benefits, at least to their own fucking citizens right now, if you're going to fucking hand wave that away for this like revolution that you fantasize about that probably wouldn't even work with respect to today's material conditions, okay? Then I don't know what to tell you. People only say greed is human nature because Western society is built upon the fact that wealth equals power. No, people say greed is human nature not just because of that, but also because a lot of people understandably recognize that man is self-interested, motivated by self-preservation. I mean, you can't fucking avoid that. That's real. But just because man is motivated by self-preservation doesn't mean, or motivated by self-interest doesn't mean that you can't go against that, or you can't create positive and negative incentives, which is what laws are, to work around that. Is the Becoming a Human political philosophy stream a song? Greed is nature, not just human nature. Every single animal competes for and hoards resources. You're absolutely fucking wrong. That's actually an insanely wrong take. What are you talking about? If you saw, I mean, there was a tweet about this like recently, actually. It's pretty fucking funny. But, oh God, okay, Jordan Peterson. If you saw a monkey hoard fucking literally all the resources while the rest of the monkeys were fucking dying, doctors would study that brain disease endlessly. But when it comes to human beings, when you see a human being doing that, we praise them as fucking gods. I.e. billionaires. It's absolutely the opposite. You can tell us why social democracy is impossible without imperialism? Is it because capitalism requires an underclass, or is it something different? Yes, because capitalism does require an underclass. That is precisely it. That's it. Not to get too ANCOM, but there can be no end to exploitation without expropriation. How do you explain Costa Rica, like Bolivia, massively improving with your idea of only first world countries can be social democracies? You think Bolivia is a great fucking example? There's a button, okay? There is a literal button. And you fucking flip that button and Bolivia is Venezuela. Do you understand? And they almost flipped that fucking button like last year. And we saw the outcome of that. Everyone watched a violent coup unfold in front of our eyes, and literally all Western media either A, avoided it, or B, considered it to be democracy finally at play. You literally saw it. You watched it with your own eyes. Every country in the global south only is allowed to have their political structure as long as those who control the global economy wish for them to be that way for the time being. They got coup, but that doesn't mean the economic system wasn't working. If you're arguing that U.S. pressure, that is entirely... If you're arguing that U.S. pressure prevents it, that's entirely different from what you were saying before. What? How are you missing the point I'm making? No, U.S. pressure or Western world pressure is at the heart of the reason. What? That's my entire argument. What is the big difference between Norway and Venezuela? What is the argument that I make all the time? The big difference between Norway and Venezuela is Western involvement. There are obviously other differences as well, but the most significant one is Western involvement. They're missing the point to fuck with you and it's working? No, Noabe's not fucking with me. No, I know who this person is. They're honest. They're not like being antagonizing or anything like that. You were saying social democracy needs an underclass to work? It does. It does. Social democracy needs capitalism needs an underclass to work. And Bolivia is still the underclass in comparison to the United States. And Bolivia, if the Western nations declare it to get too big for its britches, will become the underclass once again. Will be reduced to underclass status again. This is literally not too hard to understand. The West is to take advantage of someone for those systems to work. Just like someone has to fucking clean the toilets, and the only way to push for that is through negative incentives under capitalism, which is the fear that if you lose your fucking job and you have no other prospects, you're going to die. Every other country in the way that our economic system is currently designed in the global stage, every other country relies on developing countries to exploit. Yeah, Bolivia in and of itself had an underclass within them being an underclass, even under Evo Morales. Obviously, it was insanely better than it would be under the U.S., but still. God, your worldview is so annoying. So the shell is the underclass of the peanut. I'm so lost. I'm out of hair, dude. I don't want to be antagonistic, but imperialism is a bigger issue than the general well-being of the workers in your country that benefit from imperialism. I don't want equality at the expense of the global south. Okay, what are you going to do about it, pussy? Go ahead. This is what I mean. Like, people fucking talk a big game. All right, then go fucking keep voting for the Republicans and see what happens then, I guess. You know, accelerate, I guess, to the point where, like, America fucking implodes. I'm sure that fascist administration that rise from the ashes, because it sure as hell will not be a fucking Marxist one or a leftist one, will be very kind and won't enslave the global south further than they have so far. Anyway. How is my freedom at the expense of the global south? It's not our freedom that's at the expense of the global south. I mean, dude, I'm wearing a fucking beanie that one of you guys made, right? There's a division of labor, and in that supply chain, there is a loser and a winner. The losers are all the way on the other side of the fucking planet, so you don't see them. Even this fucking beanie that I'm wearing is probably made in some fucking sweatshop, okay? Everything that we purchase to some degree touches near slave wages, okay? Or literally slave labor. Your iPhone that you have in your hands relies on conflict minerals to keep it going. The extraction of those natural resources are completely unethical. Every part, every facet of your life, you are surrounded. If you were to just like take yourself out of what goes on, if you were to just like look at everything and the way that everything is created, you would recognize that there is a tremendous amount of cruelty in every fucking part of this. Okay? In every part of your lives. Which is why a lot of leftists say there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, because there isn't. Marxist but uses products of capitalism. And yeah, if this is an unironic critique that you have, because it's not a product of capitalism. Technological achievements are not a product of capitalism. You can't pick and choose either, by the way. But yeah, if you make that argument, then you kind of sound like those fucking stupid people who say things like, communist but iPhone. Communism is when no iPhone. Yes, thank you. Mango JPEG is correct. It's a product of labor, and capitalism is just the exploitation of that labor. All I'm saying is you would lose your fucking mind if you were to seek out ethical, like truly ethical products. You want to play RP at some point? Yes, of course. Wait, so what would prevent the underclass under socialism that would be there in a social democracy? Because socialism is about what you do with the surplus, with your surplus labor value. Okay. At its heart, socialism is about giving the means of production back to the workers. That's all it is. It's not when you fucking oppress gamers. It's not when the government does things, and the more the government does things, the more socialism it is. It's about drastically changing or reorganizing commodity production in a way where the trickling up and the oh my god, I can't think of the word. Holy shit. No. Jesus Christ, I can't think of the fucking word. No, not accumulation. Holy shit. Yes, thank you for the chatter who said that. The accumulation of wealth in the form of profits, which is completely normalized, and everyone considers that to be normal and good, does not occur in the same way. As long as there are billionaires, there's always going to be fucking homeless people. There's always going to be wealth inequality, and those people with power are going to design society in a way that increases their return on their investment, increases their profit margins, and you will keep being poor or more poor. Now, technology might advance as it does, right? And it grows exponentially as a product of both collective action and, I guess, capitalist enterprise to some degree. And it will make your life a little bit better. But in comparison to those who are at the top, your life is not going to be better. Homelessness and wealth inequality are not mutually exclusive. I mean, to a degree, there are. I've seen lefties criticize people that have entry-level jobs at banks because they're upholding capitalism or whatever, saying they could work at any other job. What's your opinion? Yeah, they're stupid. That's my opinion. A lot of leftists you see on the internet are fucking stupid, okay? Sorry. And I am stupid too. I say this as a stupid lefty. But a lot of people are just fucking stupid. Well, they're not only are they stupid, but apparently they're broke too. What's so wrong about making profits, though, as long as the needs of citizenry in your country are met? Like, why can't we just adopt the social democratic model of Scandinavia? Because if you were to adopt the social democratic model of Scandinavia and then end it there, and I have mentioned this time and time again, then you would have to fucking shutter your walls. You would have to close your walls. And people that you exploit inevitably would want to come in, like we are fucking seeing happening in South American countries right now. There's always winners and losers in global politics, and the losers, if they continue fucking losing, they are going to inevitably revolt and do something about it. They're going to try to improve their material conditions. So what are you going to do? Are you going to start murdering people that fucking try to go over your border wall? I'm trying to describe this from a purely non-humanitarian and purely selfish point of view that is borderline nationalistic, okay? Because a lot of people are that way. So I think that's a relatively successful way of describing some of the shortcomings. Who cares if they come over? How is immigration exclusive against social democracies? No, immigration isn't exclusive against social democracies. Guys, if you always need to have a permanent underclass in order for social democracies to be afloat and stay the way that they are, and you do, you need like a China, or if China's wages increase and living conditions improve, then you have to move on to fucking Indonesia or Vietnam or other countries, okay? So as long as there are other countries like that that you rely on, or like with France, you have African colonies that they still continue to exploit for their natural resources, for example. There's always going to be people that want to better their conditions and come to the dominating country, okay? Because you're keeping their material conditions at a level that is uninhabitable. And there will be a lot more conflict that comes as a consequence of that. That's why you have all of these issues in African countries and in Middle Eastern countries. So when that happens, those people are either they're going to want to fucking come to France, for example. And while I am an advocate for immigration, while I'm obviously an advocate for just complete, full-blown immigration as much as you fucking want, wherever you go, the best way to keep that manageable rather than an unmanageable situation, which is going to occur as a consequence of climate change, is to improve the infrastructure of said countries and to improve those countries in general. And that goes against the interest of the short-term goals and even the long-term goals of capital owners. Because if you improve their material conditions, then you can no longer exploit them. Then the price of the fucking t-shirt that you buy at Forever 21 goes up. If there are hundreds of millions of climate refugees, that is going to fucking destroy the global economy. It's not the same as like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people coming over the US border. And the only way to deal with that is either by welcoming them. But if it gets to an unmanageable position, I don't even know if you can fucking welcome all of them. Or kill them. And America seemingly is on the kill them side of the argument so far. European social democracies prop up some of the worst third world damaging companies, Nestle, Shell, BP, etc. Even if we improve labor standards and regulations, more of these companies, these things will keep happening provided the current global inequality continues. Yes. How come Americans are so ignorant when it comes to global exploitation? I mean, it's not just Americans. Ask French people if they know what the fuck France does with their banking of African countries that they still continue to colonize to this day. And you will find a bunch of people who say, what? What are you saying? Is this America? The French don't do this. What are you talking about? Every fucking country does this. Every country that is a winner in the global, in the global imperial reign does this. Okay? They do it. Or if they know, they don't give a shit. Hank, man, how come you are so ignorant to animal exploitation? Oh my God. Why did I read that? I'm not responding to it. Let's continue.
And he'd be like, no, just say we love him.
You're explaining imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism for dummies. Love you, man. Yeah, read Lenin.
We love you, bro. No, he'll be happy. What do you mean? We're fighting for Trump.
And again,
Your rhetoric can be arcane sometimes. Who exactly is a country like Iceland or New Zealand exploiting? Also, France's imperial positions abroad, for example, preceded their status as a social democracy. Okay. Just think about Norway and then think about Venezuela. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Just think about Norway and think about Venezuela. The benefit doesn't have to be directly. Okay? I'm not saying that Norway literally went to fucking China and oppressed the Chinese. All right? I'm saying that it is impossible not to fucking benefit from exploiting the global south because the system is designed that way. You sound like a fucking business owner who says, I don't understand. Like, yeah, some people are just going to be fucking janitors. Like, shut up. It's just the way it is. Either you believe that intrinsically the third world countries are third world as a consequence of, or sorry, not intrinsically, yeah. Third world countries are a third world as a consequence of like some intrinsic value, i.e. their genes or something. Or you believe that there are external factors at play that keep them down. Okay? There is no in-between in this circumstance. You either believe that they are poor because they can't help themselves because they're fucking, I don't know, black or something. Or you believe that they can't help themselves because they've been kept that way. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is, I had this ready to go right here. This was the first clip I was going to watch and we forgot about it. Here is Fox News' guest Dave Ramsey, who says, I don't believe in a stimulus check because, here, just let's watch. Incredible, incredible stuff.
Well, to start with, we need to understand we got $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. $192 billion out of that, not so much. Let's do some ratios, folks. If we're going to do math, we probably ought to play math. Now, on top of that, when you dig into it, the whole idea that student loans being forgiven is going to stimulate the economy, that assumes that people were getting ready to pay them off this year and instead would use that same $40,000 that they were getting ready to pay off their student loan and stimulate the economy with it. Again, that's economic hog.
Wait, what would they do? That's not economic hogwash. That's literally the truth. What would they do with it? Like, motherfucker just literally said, dude, it's so great. It's so great when Republicans and Democrats do this too. It's so great when they literally just go against just basic Econ 101 principles, okay? And just because, just like Republicans are the arbiters of what is patriotic and what's not, they're also the arbiters of what's true capitalism and what's not. So they can just fucking completely avoid basic Econ 101 principles to just say, you're wrong, actually. Alleviating debt will not stimulate the economy. What the fuck is the guy going to do? In your argument, if this person doesn't even have enough money to pay their fucking student loan debt, if you alleviate that student loan debt, where the fuck is that money going, jackass? Where is that money going? That means he needs even more fucking help. That's literally what that means.
Hogwash. It's smoke and mirrors. It's simply not going to happen.
Dave, I just think there's a moral hazard doing this.
There's a moral hazard doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
You signed a financial.
Yeah. What did I tell you, boys? Hey, boys, what did I tell you? Moral hazard, okay? It's always a moral hazard when the fucking poors get mere crumbs to have, albeit for a brief moment, their material conditions improved. Okay? That's a moral hazard. It's never a fucking moral hazard when banks are too big to fail. When they literally operate with that knowledge and know full well that the taxpayers are going to fucking recover and help them out no matter what happens. That's not a fucking moral hazard. It's a moral hazard when you, the working poor, get, 400 extra fucking dollars 1 month. Incredible. Moral hazard. It oh my god, it triggers me to no fucking end when I hear people say moral hazard. It's so annoying.
Financial contract, you have an obligation to pay that money back.
Absolutely. Well, listen, there's some situations where folks are hurting.
Remember, moral hazard means like you're going to learn that you don't need to pay your debts. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. When in fact, like, the ones who actually win never fucking pay their debts. Or at least know that they don't need to fucking pay their debts. If a situation occurs where they can't fucking pay their debts or they default, it's fine. The government's got their back. Taxpayers got their back. That's not a fucking moral hazard, though.
And this thing has become, it's gotten completely out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people's lives who have been destroyed by this program. Somebody needs some relief somewhere. I'm fine with that. But this has nothing to do with really helping people. This is a political...
Yeah, I really learned my lesson dying in fucking debt. Like, that's... Oh, thank God. Thank God the fucking economic principles that hold the society, the fabric, the true fabric that holds society, the fucking Econ 101 principles, they're intact. So I'll just fucking die in debt. Thank you. That's so stupid.
Political gimme by progressives simply trying to buy votes. And we know that because when you go from 10,000 in forgiveness to 50,000 in forgiveness, the people who benefit are not lower income people. The vast majority of people that have an average income or less.
Okay, this is the second part of the argument where it's like, well, first of all, you said moral hazard. Now you're saying middle income people are going to benefit from it. Okay. So what's up? Fuck the middle class? I thought you guys loved the middle class. All of a sudden, oh no, a rich person, a middle class person can't get a single extra dime. But when we give fucking trillions of dollars of fucking tax cuts to the wealthy and corporations, then that's job creators. Those are job providers. When campaigning time comes around, though, you love the middle class. You want to suck off the middle class. What the fuck happened? Fucking bullshit, dude. The real problem isn't the middle class getting like $400 when they don't fucking need it. Okay? The real problem is poor people getting money. That's it.
Have less than $10,000 in student loan debt. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of people who would be blessed by moving it from 10 to 50 are high income earners. So again, this is all political rhetoric. It's not reality.
You come from an interesting perspective.
Isn't this fair to those who suffered through their debts already? Yes, you're right, dude. You're fucking right, dude. You're right. What we should end up doing is actually, when something bad happens to me, okay, when something bad happens to me, I don't want others to go through that same pain, okay? I want to help them. I want to warn them. But you, my friend, you see something bad that happened to you, you overcame that bad thing, and now you want others to be subjected to it. What the fuck is wrong with you? You didn't even learn your lesson. My grandfather died of polio, so I'm personally against getting the vaccine. Yeah, it's great.
You talk to Americans across the country every day on your radio program.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the right number or the right answer for the next stimulus check?
Well, I don't believe in a stimulus check because if $600 or $1,400 changes your life, you were pretty much screwed already. You got other issues going on. You have a career problem, you have a debt problem, you have a relationship problem, you have a mental health problem. Something else is going on if $600 changes.
Okay.